As we wrap up Women's History Month, it got us thinking about the financial power of women, which is significant. Women have certainly been making strides in owning their worth, so we have to ask, how far have we come and where are we headed? We're going to break it all down for you right now on UBS Trending. Hi, everyone, and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Anthony Pastore. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm joined today in the studio by Bree Williams. She is the head of practice management at State Street Global Advisors, terrific partners to UBS. So it's been a year, and the last time you were with us, there was a lot that was moving and changing over the past year and years before that when it comes to women taking control of their own worth, as we say, controlling their finances. And an interesting statistic that we just recently saw was that women are set to inherit $30 trillion, that's with a T, $30 trillion by 2030 because of the great wealth transfer. How significant is that in the study that you're doing and the research you're doing when it comes to women in finance?
It's tremendous. And there's actually quite powerful data of what's happening today. You don't have to wait 6 years to see that impact. So women already contribute $7 trillion with the T to US GDP annually. And they control a third of the global wealth. And today, they already control in their households, in the US, $10 trillion in financial assets. So power of the purse is not just the one that does the buying. It also reflects now the decision making. And you talk about progress, you know, it does move a little slowly, not as fast as we would like to see. Change takes time and resiliency to shatter those glass ceilings that still remain. But the progress we're seeing, the wins that are being made, small and large, should definitely be celebrated. And it's not just about empowering women for the sake of doing right, but it has an impact globally to the individual and their personal finances, to society at large, to the workforce in terms of labor contributions, and as well as just helping someone get better outcomes in their financial life. So the economy impact as well as the personal impact.
Yeah, it's amazing because one of the numbers that you had sent to us before we sat down today was something like 59% of Gen X women and 70% of millennials are starting to make their own financial decisions, which is a massive leap from where we were just a couple years ago. I remember in the beginning of these conversations that I was having with you, millennial women were surprisingly not taking control of their finances and leaving it to their opposite sex partner, husband, spouse, et cetera. That's changing.
Definitely, and that's a great thing to see. And what it really means is big picture, the money taboo has been broken, finally. So it's become dinner table conversation. And we have to thank moms, aunts, grandmothers of the generations before to make that possible. So the family unit has become a role model financially for the next generation. So that's why we've seen the increase in the empowerment numbers of owning one's worth with young Gen X and the millennials, and those are some great stats to really be excited about.
Every time you sit down, we sit down together, I always ask and talk about Fearless Girl, which is that beautiful statue that sits in front of the New York Stock Exchange. And that's been since 2017 that State Street put her there or in the city. And since then, as we said, there's been so many strides happening with educating women on their finances and them taking more control. What have you seen really since Fearless Girl took her stance the first time to where we are now?
Sure, for a statue that really put a nice symbol on what has been an age-old problem and galvanized the globe around investing in women is an investment in ourselves. That message loud and clear, women in leadership matter, and that's expanded now to women across the entire pipeline matter. And well, you see what you want to see when you look at Fearless Girl. Now, you and I have talked about this before, but it's an investment in her, so whatever is on her wish list to do financially, professionally, there's a path forward for that. So progress has been made. We've seen women challenge conventional thinking, whether you're talking about the boardroom or the highest levels of government, and that's progress, and that should be celebrated. On a more personal front, with one's finances, we talked about those engagement numbers. We've talked about the money taboos finally being broken, and that allows someone to have greater confidence and a sense of control, no matter of all the uncertainty that's around us right now, feel that they're on track with their long-term plan and are going to stick with it because they know they're at the right risk level. They know who needs the money for what, when, and why. And they're with, ideally, a strong financial partner in the advisory community.
And isn't that the next, really the greatest point that we make, which is we have on our side, and I know you've been doing it as well, educating our own financial advisors about the power of women and finances and the economy and money, and how they needed to sort of pivot a little bit. The tendency was to kind of speak more to the male in the room and not the female, and now that's starting to shift where it's becoming more equal weighted in the decision. So how has that advisor-client relationship been changing in the research you're seeing?
It's great news here, and love to tell good stories, right? So in this one in particular, when you compare the advised versus the unadvised investor with a gender lens, we see significant difference. So 72% of the advised investor, that is a woman, that is working with the financial advisory team, versus the unadvised or self-directed woman, 54%, in terms of how confident they are around their personal financial outlook. So when you have 72% saying, I have more confidence in my financial plan over the next 12 months and my ability to achieve what I'm working on financially, that's significant versus the 54% that are feeling where they are in their optimism. That says the work that advisors are doing, the support that they're providing, the knowledge building that they're doing, as well as helping them develop skills and experience in the financial realm, is paying them back. It's an investment in her. It's an investment in future self. And when she's with the right advisor, she's understood, she's heard, she's getting what she wants and needs on her terms. Now, advisors have to work a little harder, though, to earn this ROI because she's very discerning in choosing that relationship. We know those statistics well about voting with your feet when your partner passes on. It doesn't have to be that way if you actively demonstrate in a tangible manner what this relationship is about, because she will become more loyal, and there's no reason for her to go.
Right. MIT did a study, and I just went to a conference at the campus, which was amazing. Yeah. They were talking about the differences between men and women when it came to recommendations. If a woman has a really close friend, family member who says, this product is great, you're going to love it, more women have a tendency to just go ahead and buy it because they trust the source. Yes. Men, on the other hand, have a tendency to say, all right, I'll look at it, but then they'll look at 5 other products to review and compare. So in the same breath, you would say, if you're wooing and satisfying the needs of a female client, if you're an advisor, that their idea would be that they may recommend to their other female friends, family members in their lives, which kind of opens up a whole new potential client base.
Yes, well, referrals are the lifeblood of growth. And when you think about women being 51% of the population, they're
not
one of the...
Not a minority. Let's say that again.
Definitely
51%.
Not. 51% of the population.
Right.
And the fact that they are one of the fastest growing client segments, when you think of investors that are highly influential and growing their net worth in terms of investable assets, you want her. You need her to be successful just as much as she needs the right partner to maximize what she has to work with and have her money work just as hard as she does.
And ask the right questions. Don't ask what mutual fund is interesting to you, or maybe you do. Find out more about that person sitting in front of you before you start asking all the questions.
Right.
And as the client sitting in the office, don't be afraid to ask questions of that advisor who's sitting in the room with you.
No such thing as a bad question.
Especially in this industry. It's very confusing for even the two of us who sit here and do it every day.
Right.
Especially for somebody who's not in this industry. It's all words, numbers, it makes no sense. Yeah. Acronyms.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
And you shouldn't feel penalized for asking a question because you're just trying to gain information. Information is power. And when you feel that power, you feel confidence and you can do anything.
As we're kind of wrapping up the conversation, I'm always interested to hear where you think things may be headed down the road.
Sure. So when talking about the education component, women tend to be a student of the business. They want to learn, and they're asking questions in the investment space that are about the stock market. They're about different types of products and solutions, whether it's alternatives or ETFs. So there's certainly an interest in ensuring they have an understanding of the comprehensive long-term plan and how the decisions they're making on a daily basis impact those outcomes. But when it comes to the investment portfolio, they just want to ensure that it's optimized to achieve what is on the top priority list for them. And that tends to be in the area of managing longevity risk. So sorry to all the guys out there. Women are going to outlive you by about 6 years,
Much
maybe
to our
8.
chagrin, which is a fact that we all know well.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It's true. And so that's very front and center. When you look at her top goals, she wants to ensure that her retirement years are being lived on her terms. Do I have enough resources to cover my bases sufficiently, as well as satisfy my desire to do some legacy planning?
Right.
Provide the next generation with both roots and wings. So those are the top 2 priorities for her today. So you need to be talking to her not only about the plan, but how to get it all done in the right order, but also education on what's right for the portfolio based on her risk and where she is on the journey.
Excellent. And I like to go back to what you said towards the beginning, which is it's intergenerational.
Yes.
Many women learn from, and boys too, they learn from the parents, the grandparents.
Yes.
So if you are a woman or even a male in that home with that has either 2 young girls, daughters, nieces, granddaughters, start getting them to think about money and financing on their own today so that they grow up with that as one of their core values so that we don't have to be having this discussion in 15 years. This will just be an automatic mindset that a woman could go in, she can make her own investment decisions. Even if she's sitting next to a husband or a partner, she still has the power because she learned it as she was growing up.
I agree with that. I mean, inclusivity and the money mindset you're talking about are key to the types of behaviors we can all role model. We just want their opportunities to be bigger and better than what we had. And they should also learn from our mistakes, even the little ones, because they're lessons. And those money lessons can be really powerful.
Excellent. I love ending it right there. And for more information on this topic, plus many others, please visit our Insights website at ubs.com/views. Plus, you can follow UBS and UBS Studios on social media, particularly our Instagram page at UBS Trending. Lots of great content there. Plus, we're on all the other channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and more. And if you feel the need, and we recommend that you do this, make sure you're having conversations with your advisor. It's very important that you reach out to them and continue this conversation. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. Have a great day, everybody, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. We'll see you soon.